You must realize the further the arrow is going to be shot, the more it must be pulled back. I have never met anybody who did exceptional things in their life who had not at some point endured exceptional crushing. It is the force to which you have been pulled back that determines the height that you will fly. For the eagle, soar is about flying, but for the eaglet, soar is about falling. If the eagle stirs her nest and the eaglets are pushed out of the comfort of their nest, is that not crushing? If their food supply is now cut off and they are pushed out by their own mother to fall off the side of a cliff, is that not crushing? Why would mama do that to me? Why would mama not feed me? And in the process of the eaglet falling, flapping its wings in hysteria, it is the thing that crushed the eaglet that causes it to soar. The whole value of crushing is to explain to people not to be confused when the crushing precedes a soaring. Because a lot of times, if we only tell you about soaring and we don't tell you about crushing, when something crushing happens in your life, it looks like what we preached is not true. Right. Whereas crushing is the process and soaring is the promise. You cannot have promise without process. And we live in a time where people preach more about the promises and less about the process. So what happens is when you hear about the promise and you go home and you find yourself in the process, your life is a contradiction to your faith. You are going home and dealing with marital issues, children who won't obey or comply, a sister who doesn't like you, a father who always preferred the other sister or daughter, and you're saying, how is my life in such shambles? Never realizing that those that God is going to anoint the most, he always crushes the most severely. When we were talking about the arrows a moment ago, and we were talking about striking the ground, and we were talking about the bow and arrow, you must realize the further the arrow is going to be shot, the more it must be pulled back. And I wrote crushing in part because I have never met anybody who did exceptional things in their life who had not at some point endured exceptional crushing. It is the force to which you have been pulled back that determines the height that you will fly. God knew that later in my life, he was going to bless me extraordinarily. And some people would later question, are you serving God for stuff? So he allowed me to be crushed early so that no matter what they said, I would know. You understand what I'm saying? Because they were going to come in at the end of the movie and make assumptions. But I lived through the first of the movie to validate the fact that it was not for the things he gave me that I do what I do. It was because of the love and the passion and the anointing. And so, yes, it makes you, and sometimes it also creates a narrative for you that completes your ability to reach both high and low. I can reach the guy in the homeless shelter, and I can reach the guy in the penthouse suite, because I have learned how to abase and abound. I've suffered lack, and I've had plenty. And I have learned whatever state I'm in, therewith to be content. Some things God takes you through are not for you, but it's so you can reach somebody else. Sometimes he crushes you because he's going to bless you so much he does not want you to get arrogant like your predecessors. And so he humbles you. Anytime he's going to exalt you, he humbles you. Obscurity, though, is a great gift. It's a great gift. There's a reason that God develops an embryo in obscurity. Obscurity gives you a chance to have development, to fight your own devils, to overcome your obstacles, to get your priorities in alignment. The problem we have today is that people want a success for which they have not been groomed for. Success that you have not been groomed for is like birthing a baby prematurely. The chances of survival go down the earlier the baby is exposed. And to be exposed too soon is not a blessing, it's a curse. You don't want anything before it's time. Nothing before it's time. There's a time and a season for every purpose under heaven. And so you don't want to get married too soon. You don't want to buy a house too soon. You don't want to be exposed to crowds too soon. And so because he loves you, it's not punishment, it's preparation. Because he loves you, he hides you in obscurity. Anything that's valuable, you protect. When I stay in a hotel, there's a safe for you to put your valuables in obscurity. You have been hidden because you are valuable. When the time is right, when you are strong enough to withstand the elements to which you will be exposed to, the reward you get for overcoming your last challenge is your next challenge. You cannot be so driven by ambition that you see obscurity as punishment. So I think for me, the hardest part was managing what we call success. Because that creates expectations. Right. Being global causes you to be relevant in so many rooms where the rules are different. And you have to be flexible enough to be able to function in various types of situations and still be true to who you are. To him whom much is given, much is required. So the more that's given to you, the more that's required of you. That's why you ought not to despise the preparation, because what got you applauded over here will get you killed over here. And you won't even know that you have stepped into a different arena. Yeah, right. And you don't understand that this is not that. Everybody in this room can see everybody in this room, but they can never see themselves. And so your pastor can see everything, but he can't see himself. So when you can't, that's why you have a mirror, because you can't see yourself. I can see everybody. I see all of you, all the way up in the back high. When you are truly gifted, you can't see it. When you are truly gifted, it is your normal. And so the frustration is you're trying to manifest your gift, and you are manifesting your gift, but you don't know that that is your gift because your gift is your normal. People who can sing aren't trying to sing, they just can. People who can write aren't trying to write, they just can. And so when they write things, they think, oh my God, that's not good. Oh my God, it's not good. Oh my God, it's not good. Because you can't see yourself. So sometimes the more gifted you are, the more vulnerable you are, and the more affirmation you need from your inner circle. So really gifted people are sensitive and they're vulnerable, and you have to learn how to function within that sensitive, vulnerable space. And I'm going to give you a couple of things that will help you to do it. Insulate yourself with a few inner circle people who love you enough that you can be vulnerable in front of, and yet are honest enough. Because the one thing that you will never get is more time. So you don't have time to allow your fear to incarcerate you when you have the key. Reach around there, unlock the door, and step into your destiny. But some people only learn through those kinds of chastenings. Because anytime you won't hear God's warning, He will chasten you. Because it comes down to how many will you have to lose for you to change. In between fruit and more fruit is always a knife. When God gets ready to take you up, He always cuts you back. There will be some exodus. There will be some loneliness. There will be some crushing place, some weeping, wallowing stage of life, because you are His, and He knows exactly where to cut you. God knows exactly where to cut you to make you more productive. I was doing the right thing, but I was cutting in the wrong place. God knows exactly where to crush you, to bring you to the place that you need to be. I want to throw this in. I was born to die. You're about to see me be crushed. But understand that as He crushes me like this cup, He is transforming me from grapes to wine. There are people who are being crushed right now in situations that don't work, in circumstances that are overwhelming. Sometimes the pressure is visible and you can see the assailant. But other times it's invisible. It's an emotional, it's a mental, it's a turmoil, it's an internal conflict that crushes you, and you suffer in invisible ways, like a child that's been whipped and sent to school, but they wore clothes to hide the scars. And there you are walking amongst people and nobody can see that you're scarred beneath it all. That's what crushing is. And there are people in this room right now who have or will or are enduring crushing moments, and they are saying, where is God? And He's under the clothes with you. He's in the pain with you. He's in the situation with you. He's in the turmoil with you. There are certain crushings that you're going through right now in your life, and sometimes people don't see it. They don't know that you're being crushed because sometimes you're being crushed in your heart, in your emotions. I was doing research for my book and I found out that the same part of the brain that processes physical pain processes emotional pain. So my brain doesn't know whether my heart is broken or whether you stabbed me in the leg. The same part of the cerebellum that sends the message that you're in pain is just as intense about a broken heart as it is about a stabbed leg. You understand? So all of a sudden I'm in trauma, but there's no paramedic because I'm not bleeding. I'm not being crushed on the outside where you could put a tourniquet on it and send me to the emergency room. I'm being crushed in my heart. There are all kinds of ways for you to be crushed in places that people don't see, and it affects you like you are being stabbed. This trauma of the soul cannot be treated in the hospital. This trauma of the soul, this secret crushing that God allows us to go through sometimes in our life are beyond explanation. And yet there's not a person in this room, young or old, black or white, rich or poor, intellectual or illiterate, who escapes it. You cannot live in this world and not need what I'm talking about. You cannot live in this world and not need it. Something in your life is going to be what God uses to crush you. But remember that crushing is not the end. That crushing is a stage, it's not a destination. It's not a destination. It's not a destination. Do not, I gotta get this out because this is important. Some people take on a pathology of pain and they make the crushing their address, and they live in what should have been a stage. And no matter what you do, you cannot pull them out of it because pain becomes their normal. They will provoke you till you fight them. They will push you away till you reject them because it is the thing that they are most familiar with. And they don't understand that they self-sabotage their success. You're not fighting a demon. You're not fighting the devil. You are fighting the fact that you have become so accustomed to pain that it is your place of residency. And I challenge you today to shatter your way out, to break your way out. If you can't get out the door, come out the window. I challenge you today. I challenge you to be happy, even if being happy feels funny. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. That means if I was the devil, all I have to do to keep you bound is keep you from knowing it. You can be beautiful, just don't know it. You can be wonderful, just don't know it. You can be effective, just don't know it. You can be smart, just don't know it. And so the enemy keeps you blind to what you have because you're not used to light. The hardest thing in the world is to go from dark rooms into bright light. And so all of a sudden you say, ooh, that's too much. But in order for you to find your strength, you have to not only go into the crushing, you must come out of it.